My dad bought into this neighborhood when I was 5 years old.
But you've always taken interest.
Of his children, I've been probably the most interested. But I grew up a Memphian, lifelong Memphian, grit and grind. Yeah, it came with the Grizzlies, but it's totally been part of our soul forever. And I think I really appreciate that about this neighborhood. Everyone here works really hard at what they do. They're tremendously talented at what they do. And more than that, they have a huge passion for the neighborhood and the city. And I think that's something that resonates with any Memphian. If you're from Memphis, unless you're like 22 years old and you grew up in Collierville, you love Memphis. Everything about it. It has its own heartbeat. And I think that this neighborhood is really an example of that passion, just kind of in a concentrated area. So that's kind of what's kept me here, other than nepotism. And I really just
haven't handed it to you.
I love being a witness to all the growth and the change that's happening, even though I only take a very small part in it. Just being able to watch everyone else succeed and everybody else grow is very rewarding, and I'm just anticipating what's to come.
They bought this place here in 1995. This was the first one. And we have nine spaces, 22 commerol?
21.
When we first did the edge with Art Farm and it's like we want to create a live, work, play environment, and like our mission statement was we want like a seamless, diverse something between the medical center and the Mississippi or something. And it's like, that's exactly what we're trying to do. But we move a little slower down here. Yeah. But now we sort of have the momentum, and we're really rolling on it. The Edge Odor Museum has actually become a big draw over the past year and a half.
August is huge for the tenants that are here. We really, right now, they rely heavily on the Elvis Week stuff. So hopefully when the Brooks Museum gets done downtown, and we really have that higher end museum network in the neighborhood that's drawing in tourism just to go see the architecture alone of the Cossett Library Fire Project. Hopefully they'll come through here and check out our stuff. Shadiak was saying he's really trying to get St. Jude's employees and partners, staff, to go out in the neighborhood, support the local business, drink at the local watering holes, etc. So when this neighborhood has an outlet for that, like when Orleans Station opens and brings in new tenants, and when we attract new tenants and people like Ben open up Inkwell, we will have a place for those institutions to send their people to go out and be entertained and partake in the local culture.
Well, and the thing is, they can't really, there's the barrier of 240 to going east somewhat. And
so the only natural place to go
is to be here.
Right here. We got to give it to them, we got to give them something to do. So.
Yeah. We have a little bit of a barrier at Danny Thomas. That's why we're putting a deck on the roof and let everybody see us partying out there. We've had a few places, especially in the past, where there wasn't much, buzz about the Edge, that, you have to be a destination location, but what you're doing is you're providing people so that we don't have to just be a destination location. We'll be like a collaboration of bump into location, but we need to keep that destination location mantra with the everyday people,
As much as, the temporary landscaping has helped with the curb appeal around here, it does confuse traffic. I really would like to see more permanent installed as an extension of the sidewalks, more of our neighbors really making an effort to beautify the facades of their buildings and go for that Downtown Memphis Facade Grant. We've got a lot of tools available to people that have been here a long time and can't necessarily afford to throw a lot of money instantly at their building, like the retail tenant improvement grants, the exterior improvement grants, the now new sidewalk improvement grant. And I just hope that it's been my effort as president to try to educate everybody on those programs so that they know they have access to them, they will apply for them, and hopefully do as much as they can to better their own individual spaces. I think if people start taking agency with what they own or the buildings they occupy, everything around it will just kind of naturally become better. Every little bit helps. So.
Well, and I think that, the large projects like Alex's project that, that they worked on for 4 years, and those are absolutely essential to the neighborhood, and we've been very blessed. I mean, you take a neighborhood like Cooper Young that's developed over 30 years, but we never had the advantages in Cooper Young, which way back in the day, I was president a long time ago there, but we never had the advantages in Cooper Young of having the MMDC and having that influx of money and having the DMC. And so what I think is important on that realm is we need to use that to our advantage. And the small projects can make such an impact. And like what I try to do to fill in, because we can't do a $30 million project, is we just try to constantly do like little stuff, and and half of it is tactical urbanism, which that they used to call the misdemeanor. But I'm an expert in that, and we try to make a little bit of an impact, and as we go along, because these projects do take 3 or 4 years to develop.
I know my dad was here, and he's the unofficial mayor of the Edge, but Tommy Pacello is the one that really spurred a lot of the enthusiasm for the neighborhood and the change that we see today. And if I tear up, I'm really sorry, but he really is the big reason why everything that is happening here is happening. And I'm gonna.
Well, incremental development, has been an important part of this neighborhood. And, and one of the things, and I don't want to get too wonky, but, I think one of the things that helped Broad develop a little bit more quickly than we did in some areas is that they have smaller footprints in the building, and you had building owners that were able to buy 3,000 square feet. In my situation, I'm like, bring it on, give me 25,000 feet, give me more space to do something with, but that's pretty daunting for your average person to come in. And whereas like in Broad, people came in, man and wife, couple partners, came in, bought a 3,000 foot building with 3,000 foot above, and they could understand how they can make that work. A little bit harder to make these big footprints work, in these big buildings. Well, and frankly, that allowed me to get a lot of properties at a much lower square foot price, a lot lower cost basis, because people were intimidated.
In the long run, though, I think that's going to help tremendously with density. Right now, we don't have a lot of density. We're finally starting to see it with Ethan's project, The Rise. Orleans Station is going to bring in hundreds of new residents. And as we start to see that density residentially, when we have these large commercial spaces available, we can split them up and get multiple retail tenants, restaurant tenants, artists in one space. And then that's what starts to build the live, work, play element of the neighborhood when you start to get that density. So I think it is going to end up being a huge asset that we have all these buildings that we can pack multiple tenants into, and still each one is getting 3,500, 4,000 square feet.
Well, and like the next project we're going to do, we're doing Stop 345 now. Then we've already gotten a grant, thankfully, from DMC. We're going to reactivate all these transoms here and do a lot of lighting, and we're going to try to position this space. We're actually moving our offices to 287 Madison. And initially, we're going to put a bridal suite up here in the top, but the goal is that over the next couple of years that we're going to get hopefully an entertainment and food type venue. We'd love to have a jazz club here or something like that. It's kind of a natural for this. And then we're in the process of moving out a storage type tenant who's, we're giving them months to move out over a period of time, and then we're going to activate the space on the alley side behind Slim and Huskies.